Good evening. My name is BJ Hall. I'm calling this meeting to order. This is the Inland Wetlands Commission meeting for the town of Monroe. It is July 27th, 2022, and the time is 7:08 p.m. We'll start with roll call. Keith Romano. Jim Stewart. Ross Mostrikoff. Here. Eric Lindstrom. Here. And Ryan Kelly. Here. Okay. We have remotely. Did you say Clark?
I saw him on. If you want to ask him if he, yeah.
Could we have any commissioners remote?
Yes, Clark Chingris is here.
Okay. We just recorded that he is remote.
Okay.
Okay. Shall we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start, I'll read our mission statement and describe how the meeting will proceed. Inland Wetlands mission statement is the objective and purpose of the Inland Wetland Commission is to provide for the overall protection and preservation of the inland wetlands and watercourses with the town of Monroe. Our meeting procedure is as follows. Please note that this meeting is being conducted utilizing electronic equipment in compliance with State Law Public Act 21-1. As such, this meeting is being recorded and will be available to the public in compliance with state law. If you are attending remotely, please remember to mute your microphone unless speaking. Anyone participating remotely should state their name and title at the outset of each occasion at which that person is speaking. All votes taken during which any member of this body are participating remotely shall be taken by roll call unless the vote is unanimous. The chat features will not be enabled for this meeting. We have Keith Romano joining us now.
Okay.
In the normal course of our meetings, we will hear public hearings and other applications. Protocol for public hearings, to have an applicant make a presentation to the commission, during which and after which the commission will be asking the applicant questions. Please keep the presentations as concise as possible. The commission will then review town staff and other independent comments. The meeting will then be open for public comment. I will ask that all comments be made to the chair or commission. After any and all comments pro, in opposition, or of a general nature are made, the applicant will be given an opportunity to respond. Since we do not have a public hearing tonight, we will move on to the agenda. We do have several items that are not on the agenda. And I want to take those items, we want to add them to the agenda here?
You want to make a motion to add him? Yeah.
I'll make a motion to add presentation from NSAFE regarding the contract to monitor 64 Cambridge. We'll hear from Bill, I believe. And also we have Bill Holsworth here from our business development group in town, economic development, who will be giving us a presentation on Sustainable Connecticut, which is something that we here in Monroe are in the process of developing. That Bill will explain the certification, and it's something that could be very beneficial to the town. It's about 129 towns in Connecticut involved in the program. So, and in order, Bill, to get you on first, so you're free to go if you want after that, if you'd like to make the presentation to us now.
Sure. Thank you very much. It's here. Can you,
If you
my name
could
is,
step over by the microphone a little bit
sure.
and tell us your name and title and all that.
My name is Bill Holsworth. I'm the Director of Economic and Community Development for the town of Monroe. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here this evening to give you a presentation regarding sustainable CT and the progress that Monroe has made within the program. First, a little bit about sustainable CT. The program was founded in 2016 as a 501c3 organization. It was created by towns, for towns, with municipal leaders, residents from across the state, as well as participation from the Connecticut Council of Municipalities, nonprofits, and businesses to develop the program through the early half of 2017. So the program is relatively new. The Institute for Sustainable Energy at Eastern Connecticut State University led and coordinated program development with generous support from the Emily Hall Tremaine Foundation, Hampshire Foundation, and the Common Sense Fund. There are many benefits associated with program participation. There's recognition, inspiration, peer learning, the future state of the environment, funding for other resources. There's economic benefits that will drive businesses and residents to move to the town, partnerships and community building, as well as innovation. Within the actions for each of the tasks, there's additional benefits that could be recognized depending on the actions that we take, which we'll get into momentarily. There's environmental impacts, greenhouse gas reductions, health and wellness, cost savings, economic well-being, climate resilience, community building, and equity. The team responsible for Connecticut Sustainable CT is comprised of 4 staff members. Rick Schultz, who's our town planner. Nancy Brawl is our Director of Health. Chris Nowacki, our Director of Department of Public Works, and myself, Bill Holsworth, Director of Economic and Community Development. As the chairman had alluded to earlier, there are 169 towns in the state of Connecticut, 129 of which, 75%, are registered with Sustainable CT. 66 of those 129 are currently certified. Of those 66, 41, or 2/3 roughly, are bronze certified. The other 25 are silver certified. The difference between bronze certification and silver certification is a point spread and the number of actions that are taken within each of the categories. For bronze certification, we're required to collect 200 points and do 1 equity toolkit action from each of the categories. For silver certification, we're required to acquire 400 points and 3 equity toolkit actions. There's also a climate leader designation that's available this year as a pilot program. And if we're applying for certification or recertification in this calendar year, we would be eligible, but we'd also have to have 140 points from a list of high impact greenhouse emission reducing actions. Certifications are good for 3 years. They expire on 12/31 of the 3rd year in which you get certification. You can get certification in the spring or you can get certification in the fall. This year, the spring submission due date was April 5th, and the fall submission due date is August 23rd. Partially completed applications can be submitted. It is our intention of the team to submit some of our projects for the August date, though we are not looking for full certification for August. We'll look for the full certification come the spring. There's 13 categories. Our team has dubbed them as chapters. And then underneath each of those 13 categories, there's multiple actions, which we've dubbed subchapters. It's easier for us to talk about in the book form. And each of those actions has variable point values, ranging anywhere from 5 points up to 100 points for some of the things that you can pursue. Our team met weekly to brainstorm ideas of projects that we have already completed, projects that we were aware of, and to identify commissions and other community organizations whom we can reach out to help us with some of these actions and some of these chapters that we're trying to complete. The Inland Wetland Commission is one of the commissions that we have on our list, as is the Conservation Commission, the Planning and Zoning Commission, the Historic Society, the Town Clerk, and various other town departments. So it is a community-wide reach that we're trying to take to get all of our certifications and get all of the points that we possibly can for each of the actions that we can pursue. So I just want to take a moment again to thank the chairman and thank the members of the commission for having me here tonight to talk about this project and to give you an update on where we stand. There's 13 chapters that are in there. The first one is inclusive and equitable community impacts. It's kind of an easy one. It's almost a gimme. There's equity training that needs to be completed, and we need to adopt a statement on equity. If anybody needs a definition of equity, it's new, improved, and valued relationships between different members of the community with more inclusive decision-making and improved access to services and sharing of benefits with all residents, both current and future, regardless of race, income, ability, age, gender, sexual orientation, etc. The second chapter consists of thriving local economies. We're going to turn to the Economic Development Commission to help us through this chapter. And some of the actions within that chapter are redevelopment of brownfields projects. We have not found any brownfields in Monroe. There are no properties or parcels that are dubbed as brownfields on the site, so we can't really pursue that one. But there's an inventory and promote local products and services, which is something that the Economic Development Commission focuses heavily on every month when we meet. Provide resources and support to local businesses, another thing that EDC is very good at. Chapter 3 is well-stewarded land and natural resources, which is certainly something that we would approach the Inland Wetland Commission to help us with. And some of those things are provide watershed education. I think some of that might even be completed in some of our regulations. Create a watershed management plan. Engage in watershed protection and restoration. That one's worth up to 45 points. So if there's any projects on your mind where there's watershed protection or restoration, we might want to be submitting for that project and collecting 45 points. Developing an open space plan. Some of these things are identified within our POCD. So we're going to turn to those types of documents that have already been completed, pull out the applicable parts, put them into part of our application, expand on that and submit that for points. Create natural resource and wildlife inventory. That's something that the Conservation Commission has been very interested in. And promote dark skies. Dark sky compliance is one of our planning and zoning regulations that's in for all of the businesses that come to town and doing development. So that might be something that we can check off pretty quickly. Chapter 4 is vibrant and creative cultural ecosystems. So it's a map of tourist locations and cultural assets. So things that the team has come up with are things like Wolf Park, Webb Mountain, the Housatonic Rails Trails, Lake Zor, and the historic old schoolhouse that's right down the street from here. Support arts and creative culture and develop an arts and cultural program for youth. So the Parks and Rec Commission and the Parks and Recs Department has done a lot of that, as has many of our businesses. So we're going to tap into those leads as well to gain points there. Dynamic and resilient planning is chapter 5, and that's integrated sustainability into POCD, which I believe we have done, but I need to validate that within the new POCD that was just released last year. Second one is adapt the permitting process to promote sustainable development. Develop agricultural friendly practices, which we can also tie back to the open space plan. Inventory and assess historic resources. And streamline for solar permitting for small solar installations. The actions that I'm giving you under each of these chapters is just but an example of the actions that are available within Sustainable CT. It's not a full and inclusive list, but it's an example to give you a flavor for what the chapter is about. Chapter 6 is clean and diverse transport.
Bill?
Yes.
I went through these.
Yep.
And I saw that the ones you just discussed, 3 and 5, seemed like they would be most relevant for us.
The dynamic and resilient planning and the well-stewarded land.
Right. I think that's where our interests would probably lie. A lot of those others are quite, it's just 40-page document, activities. It's big.
We went through it at length and at depth. It took us a couple of months as a team to brainstorm all of the ideas, all of the commissions, all of the external resources that we might be able to tap into to gain the knowledge that we would need to be able to draft the application to apply for points through the program.
So there's opportunity here going forward as this takes shape for our commissioners to participate in this.
Absolutely.
I would guess a couple of different ways, actions that could be brought before us, but also should they be interested, they could volunteer to help with activities or particular things in there.
Absolutely.
Teaming up with the Conservation Commission is something we're used to doing.
Okay.
So I think that would be a really beneficial to us to understand 3 and 5 particularly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's, so you've been working on this, this was like since the first of the year?
Early in the year, we began the process. We have completed going through the 67 pages, I think, is the full plan of all of the detailed actions and what's eligible, what's not eligible, trying to identify all of the brainstorming that we have.
Okay.
We have created a shared file drive for the team so that as members of the team discover information, like for P and Z, we've asked Rick Schultz to pull that information for us. The health and wellness stuff, we've asked Nancy Brawl to pull some information for us. As they collect that information, it's inefficient to distribute through email, so they post it out on the shared drive, and we all have access to it.
Okay. So what's next that maybe we could participate in or should be aware of?
So next up is taking those tasks that we've identified that have already been completed, collecting the documentation that substantiates the completion of those tasks, putting it into the application, and then filing it with Sustainable CT before noon on August 23rd, I believe is the date that I gave you.
So, but to work on some of these other ongoing activities or ones that could start, I think that's where we'd want to get involved probably.
Okay.
So I guess as you get to those parts, you certainly, if you could let us know, come and talk to us about a particular project, something like that.
Absolutely.
And if you're looking for volunteers, I guess Bill's here in the building. You guys know where he is if you want to talk to him directly. But I think this is a good thing. It's a good thing for Connecticut. There's money involved, as I understand, matching funds for projects.
Yeah, and there's grant opportunities, there's doors that'll be opened when you have that designation. So there's true financial benefit to getting the certification. And to the extent that we can get it with projects that we've already completed, such as energy audits and POCD programs and things of that nature, it would behoove us not to pursue it.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for coming and talking to us tonight. Any questions you guys have got?
Were you like still going though? Like,
Well,
I don't know.
I don't think,
I stopped in because as you get into, there's a tremendous amount here that would not relate to us.
No, I understand that, but I don't know if you were wrapped up with, if you were going to delete something. I don't know.
I was just reading off the chapters and some of the subtasks to give you a flavor for what those chapters are. I was asked to do a presentation on sustainable CT, not just for inland wetlands. So I wanted to incorporate all of the other departments, all of the other commissions, all of the other areas that we're going to try to touch to collect it. But I don't want to take up your time just to hear my own voice.
Okay, all right, so you were done. I know you sound like you were still going. I don't know if there was more that we need here.
I can go for another 3 hours if you'd like.
Please not. Please.
I think what you gave us right there was an idea of the scope, that it impacts everything the town does.
It really does. It really does. And the reason that I'm involved is because I work with all of the staff members and I can reach out to the Historic Society and other members of other commissions to get their involvement to kind of consolidate all of the information, all of the knowledge, all of the experience that we have and consolidate it into a single document that we can submit to the state.
Yeah. So wait, I do have a question. So far, if you need stuff by what date?
August 23rd.
Which in our next meeting is?
Later than that, I believe.
I would not be asking the commission to participate in much of what we're going to do for August 23rd. We're going to submit 1 or 2 of these items that we've already completed for that date is our intention. And we're going to see how we do. It's a qualitative and a quantitative review. So they judge you on your writing skills. They judge you on what you've included, what you haven't included, all the maps, all the attachments. And I want to understand more about their grading system before I'm ready to submit a final paper.
So you didn't need anything from before that?
Not yet, no.
Okay. All right.
No, but I very much welcome your involvement in any additional actions that we pursue going forward. And if they happen to be pursued before the August date, great. If they get pursued after that date, it's all well and good, but I'm happy to have you involved.
Yeah, there's no time crunch for us on this.
Can I ask, and Bill, thank you for coming and talking about it. I think it's great that we're pursuing it. I think that there are a lot of ways that a lot of different groups in town can help. So I am curious. I don't want to get into the weeds, but you gave an example earlier of watershed improvement projects. And I was just trying to wrap my brain around, is that like if there is a application on a property? I guess this is maybe a question more for the commission, but an application on a property where they are trying to improve something that's deteriorated as part of that project? Or is that more like a volunteer effort to help improve something? I'm curious just what our vision of like that type of project. And it was just an example that you gave. But what is it that we would be looking for to get involved for that type of activity?
I think if it related to an application, we're obligated to follow the regulations.
Sure.
So it would be something extracurricular to an application.
Okay.
And some of those improvements like that could be in parks, in open spaces.
Sure.
In a lot of different kind of areas where we could help shape an improvement there that would fit our regulations.
Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
Anything else?
But
Thank you again for the time this evening.
Thank you.
we'll be around and you'll be around. So we got,
I will be.
okay. Back to our agenda. Okay. We are going to restart the agenda at Section A, Item 3, General Public Participation. There's a period of time reserved for public participation on matters not before the council or have been before the council or will be coming in front of the commission. So is there any public participation remotely? Do we have any remote callers who'd like to be heard? I hear nothing. And in the room, I think everyone here has separate purpose. So we will close public participation. Going once, twice.
Hold on a second. I saw a gentleman try to talk, but I don't think he had his speaker on.
Okay.
I think it's Bill Heipel.
Yes, we're,
Why don't we see the picture then? Why don't we see the,
yeah.
everybody?
Is there any way you can show us all the people so we can see if people raise their hand? Bill Heipel will be speaking to us. So Bill, if you can hear us, we're going to go through these application determinations and then we'll come to your report.
I saw his name up there.
His name is,
Yeah, I think he's probably there. We just need to figure out how to display that differently. The reason we're questioning here for those remote users is we can only see one single window.
although I don't see him here anymore.
Okay, let's move on and then when we come to that.
I did see his name earlier. Clark was right, but I don't see him on here now.
Clark, can you see him on there at all?
Yeah, he's right next to me on the screen.
What?
I have all the people that are
Oh,
on.
okay. It's Bill. Okay. Bill Heipel. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Different view option so that we can see, we normally don't look at ourselves. We normally look at all the people that are online unless there's a presentation.
Are we pinned? We want to check and see if we're pinned.
So,
We'll pause the meeting just for a moment here to straighten out our technical issue.
Gallery would be the option.
right. And it's not giving me the option.
Or how'd you get back?
I know there is that capability. It's just, it's a funny little box that you just control.
There you go.
See everything.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, good. But were we pinned?
I didn't see that we were pinned. Yeah.
It shows 13 down there. I mean, 13
Yeah.
participate?
There's 13 people on. Yeah.
We only see 7 or 8.
You can't see unless we're.
Doesn't allow a gallery view. So there were 3 options. There was thumbnail,
Yeah.
and
Right. They're not,
galleries grayed out.
it's not allowing me to give a gallery view.
we'll move along and we'll ask when a remote person needs to speak, if they would please unmute and speak up so that we know you're there if we can't see you. Okay, back to Section B, regulated activities. Public hearing, there is no public hearing tonight. Application hearing determination, we have two. We'll do our first determination for IWC-2022-09. This is for 912, 918, 926, and 929 Main Street. Construction of a 98,000 square foot commercial building in the regulated area. I believe, Commissioners, you have the materials for this one. General reports. We had a chance to review that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we bring that up to a public meeting.
Second.
Second. The second.
Who was the second on that first?
Clark made the motion.
No, he made the motion. He was the second.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. We will have a hold of public hearing on that. Second, we have IWC-22-11, 786 Main Street, construction of 8,400 square foot warehouse space in the regulated area. For this one, we have just received some additional materials. If the commissioners want to look at that to see. We haven't been through a full checklist to make sure all materials have been received. So I think we're getting close, but we have two options here, in my opinion. And that is either we allow the applicant to delay or we hold it as a public hearing. The space is, if you looked at the wetlands map, there is a large amount of wetlands to the back of the property. It is on a main street.
It's on Main Street.
So
And they're not going to throw off their timeline because they don't have all this stuff in it anyways. They weren't here to,
were
they here?
they're here, yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
Okay.
So any other comments, questions about how we proceed on this? Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll motion for a public hearing.
Second?
Second.
Second. Okay, so we'll go to a public hearing. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Very good. And that completes our hearing determinations tonight. Now, added to the agenda tonight is an item that the commission was involved in for quite a while, and that was developing a approval for 64 Cambridge, or the quarry as it's popularly known. For a long period of time, we went through the hearings on it. We put together the approval, and it is in the process of being implemented stage by stage here. So one of the key elements of our approval was that there would be a third-party company hired to monitor the activities at the site. That company they chose is NSAFE, and NSAFE has just recently been able and been out there putting together their monitoring of the site. So they published their first report, which I believe everyone received a copy of that report. Everyone on the commission received a copy of that. Last week, several of us were able to go out and do a site walk with NSAFE and with Arnold Karp and review the progress on the site. Key in the monitoring for us, we're task one in the statement, the contract with NSAFE. So I've asked Bill to come here tonight and give us an update on what has transpired and the information that he's provided. And I think we can do this on a regular basis, periodically. We are also able to go out to that site at any time, a site, I should say, with prior approval when they're doing a site visit. So we have full access to this. So, Bill, are you able to, are we able to hear you? On?
He doesn't seem to have audio availability for some reason. Hold on.
So he called in, he's talking to his phone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a phone muted. Is your phone muted, Bill?
no, it's not even available to be muted. It looks like he's talking. His audio is not working. He's talking on his phone.
Yeah, okay. We've got to get this straightened out for our next meeting.
There's no call, there's no,
I see an iPhone over here, but
Yeah.
it doesn't say hi. Yeah. There's a number of people we can't see here.
Well, some don't have video up.
Okay,
Some
I'm
have their video, most have their video off, as a matter of fact.
afraid we're going to have to pass on this then. Bill, if you can hear us, our apologies for the technical issues.
He's talking too. He's trying to see.
We can't hear you, Bill. Yeah. I don't know
I
what
don't
it
know
is.
if it's our side or his side, because can we unmute any of those other people?
Yeah, I can unmute everybody, but
Why don't you unmute everybody and see if it helps?
Bill, if you could try to use your phone again. Are you still connected on your phone? If everyone,
I unmuted all, so see if he can talk now.
these are all still
they're
showing muted.
Muted.
I just hit unmute all.
Yeah, it only unmuted
Yeah,
one.
I'm unmuted.
Yeah, see,
Okay.
Wait. That. I thought I just heard someone's voice.
You heard Clark.
No, then I heard something else.
I thought there was a noise. Yeah, I was hopeful. Okay. This is not going to work.
Okay.
like this,
Their end or our end, it's not going to work.
I don't know if it's our end because
But our next meeting, we're on the second date. Oh, July's only one meeting.
only one meeting in August. Too.
When's August? August is the early or later,
No, it's a later one.
later one?
Yeah, it's the 20.
Month.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would be good. We'll ask Bill to come back.
Like, I mean, other people could, I mean, Clark is on. Arnold, are you there? Could you unmute? Could we hear you?
Why don't we have everybody who's out there, if they can unmute and try to talk to us?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah, Paul, they can hear you, yes.
Okay.
Got Paul.
Yeah, other people are able to unmute if they want to. I don't know why that we can't hear Bill.
Maybe that is on his end.
This is Lois. You can hear me.
Yes. Yeah, see, there are people that can unmute. I don't know why
Okay.
I'm having an issue, but everybody else can if they want to speak. They're able to.
And COVID.
Bill, I'm afraid that the problem seems to be on your end. You want to disconnect and reconnect?
Yeah, you want to try calling back, connecting back?
What's left on the agenda? Just a minute.
Very little.
Why don't we give him a shot to try to reconnect and we'll.
Yeah. We'll continue with our agenda. If you can reconnect, tell us that you're connected. Try it.
You can hear us, so, yeah. Okay.
You call her cell phone and put it next to a microphone or something?
Yeah, I'll give him a chance. Okay. Let's move on through the agenda here. C, deliberation sessions, no deliberations today. D, IWC agent activities report,
None.
no activities today.
No.
General discussion, E, and other. The minutes of April 27th, 2022, which you have been provided those minutes. I was not here, so I will ask the commissioners, if someone wants to, I can't vote on it.
I didn't check them. Anybody check them?
I did, yeah. I'm the secretary.
Okay. Do you want to, okay,
Everything looked accurate in order to me. I don't know, do you want me to read through them?
so, no, if the
Nope,
other could
make a
do,
motion that we accept the minutes for April 27th.
you have a second?
I'll second.
Oh,
All in favor?
unanimous, okay. Good.
Hey, folks, this is Bill Heupel. Can you hear me now?
Hey.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Very good, yes.
I'm
Okay,
so sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sitting on my computer.
well, we're glad you're able to join us. It was good walking with you and sharing some of your knowledge out there the other day.
Well, thank you.
If you want to give us an overview of your report,
Sure.
and then maybe any updates that you've had since that.
Yep, sure thing. Yeah, by way of introduction, my name is Bill Heupel. I'm a professional engineer and a licensed environmental professional in Connecticut. And yeah, we've started NSAFE, went under contract with the town in the middle of June. So since then, we've really focused on four main tasks. We're looking at the water supply well and the wetland restoration. We're looking at the backfilling and the grade restoration with on-site materials. And then also looking at the material sorting, the Stratford High School material, the demolition debris material. There's concern about that. And frankly, we're going to ramp up our efforts to inspect and make sure that there's only good material coming out of that pile and going back in the hole. And then the fourth task in our contract is to work with the grade restoration with clean fill and perhaps help evaluate the quality of fill coming in and its placement and so on. We also recently, I think as PJ mentioned, we have had a meeting last week. There were a couple meetings. And Mr. Karp was on site. I know Paul Stone, I think, is on the phone now. I don't think Arnold could join us tonight. But I think they were very good meetings. I think there are a lot of eyes were opened about the progress on site. They've used 90,000 some odd cubic yards of fill, mostly from the rock dust pile in that southeast part of the site has been used to fill that hole up to approximately elevation 406 now. And I think, elevation 411 is kind of a magic number. That's the approximate water elevation there. But, the water's not climbing. The material is so tightly packed in there that you're not seeing a lot of inflow of water into that pit. And I believe Arnold estimates it'll take another 2 weeks or so to get up to elevation 411. So that's kind of it on the backfilling side. I'm happy to get into any more details or nuances if you'd like. But in my opinion, the big picture is the fill's going in, the right stuff is going in. They look to be doing a good job managing it, compacting it, even doing dust control and so on. And so I think the filling process is going quite well.
I think, Bill, we'd really like to hear more about the wetland restoration.
That's what I figured. Sure, of course. So when we were up there, we made some interesting observations. There were some good conversations too, I think, that night, because we saw it. Now first thing we looked at in the site visit is the flow totalizer that Arnold installed at our request. This way we can monitor the quantity of water that's going up into the wetland. So there's now a totalizer. Every time we go out for an inspection, we log in what the reading is. We know how much water has gone through. And I'll show you an example of that in just a minute. We have found that the well has been pumping about 2 gallons a minute pretty consistently since it started, since the totalizer was installed anyway, at the beginning of July, about July 7th. And the best way to kind of look at this is, I'd like to show you, can I share screen?
I'm looking at our
I think you should.
master here. It should be able to.
I think you should be able to, yeah.
Can you try to share and see if
participant? I'm getting assigned this as the host disabled participant screen sharing.
All right, Ryan.
we'll attempt to remedy that.
Okay,
So-
fair enough. What I was going to show you was an
I don't want to do
aerial
that. No,
photo.
I don't want that. So
Uh,
when I go to this, no.
And this will be part of, we're actually working on the
I
July
don't want to do that.
report right now. And next week, probably, or even the end of this
Start
week,
sharing,
we'll do
maybe?
the July report.
Okay, we appreciate that very thorough report, bringing good information out to us. So we'll wait for that
I think
one.
I think we're improving on that, on the content and even the conciseness, but we're happy to,
Yes.
any comments you have about the content and format, we're happy to hear and make improvements if you like.
Maybe commissioners, as you read through the report, anything you'd like to see that you're not seeing, you can let Bill know.
Bill, has your ability
I
to,
can share my screen now.
it looks like you can?
Yep.
Okay.
And you should see this aerial photo.
Not yet.
No, it may take a second with bandwidth or whatever.
It said new share something controller.
On my end, it says that I am sharing my screen.
Okay.
Want to hit this?
To do that, I could blow the whole
I
thing.
know.
Hang on one second.
So here.
There you go. Okay. All right, Bill, we can see it.
Excellent.
You can see it now?
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Terrific, terrific. Okay, yeah, so we're, want to walk through and just by way of orientation, the actual well is down in this area by the scale house. The well's about 500 feet deep from the records I've seen, so it's a bedrock well jammed in there, but it's producing pretty good water. And it's piped somehow, I'm not sure exactly where it goes here, but it's piped underground through here. And then finally, can you see my hand moving around on screen too?
Yes.
And then finally up here, it daylights. So this is all underground. This was that big stone dust pile. Much of this is gone. Much of this is now put back in the hole. Of course, all this water is gone. Because this is a 2020 aerial. So this hole has been filled up 30 feet since this aerial. And then the piping comes up.
Doing Arnold Karp's quarry.
All right. It daylights here.
Big
And then
hole.
I started calling these zones. There are 5, let's call them soaker hoses, off of that main 1-inch PVC line. The soaker hoses are just garden hose with holes like 1/8 inch holes drilled in them. So there's 5 of those connected. Just for convenience and discussion, I'm calling them zones. So zone 1 is this hose and its discharge. Zone 2 is this area, and so on. One thing we've noticed in all my site visits is that zone 1 is getting fairly good amount of water. I'm not seeing all that much water up in the other zones. And I think that's just a plumbing issue. And in fact, that kind of came up during our site walk. And I know I kind of had a sidebar with Arnold who said, what do we need to do? We talked about it a little bit and we kind of agreed we could put valves on each of these legs, each zone. Then you could control where the water is going. And then I think there'll be better distribution and control of the water, which seems to be pumping reliably 2 gallons a minute. Is that enough? Frankly, I'm not really, that's not really my thing. I don't know what the hydraulic budget here should be, the water budget should be. I think Arnold's got, he's got other consultants that have done that. He's got wetland specialists that have looked at that and said, you get the water up there and spread it around, and it should do okay. So step 1 is let's make sure we get the water to those places. And I think we're on the right track for that now. So between the totalizer and the valves on these zones, and these legs, I think we're going to have much better idea of the water that's being distributed up there. And then we can observe the effect and we can start to understand, better how well it's working. I think Arnold just joined us, I think.
Okay. So I think that's good. It's good information. And that 2 gallons a minute is at the well, correct?
That's measured at the well. That's correct.
Okay. All right. So the question is where does it go out of which zone? And how much irrigation does each zone need to effectively restore the wetlands? And it sounds like with a gauge on each one, you would have better control over that. Wasn't there a timer on several of those that either turned them on or off at certain times?
Yeah, Arnold, do you want to speak to that? Or from what I know, I understand they were defunct. I think Arnold's going to replace those, but I'll let him speak.
Sure.
Bill, thank you. Commission, thank you. What we found out on a site visit is that a few of the timers that were supposed to be in zones 1 through 5, 1 or 2 were not working as properly as they should be, and 2 were mysteriously missing. So we reordered them. I believe it was last Thursday or Friday. Bill had sent us a note. They will be reinstalled no later than prior to this weekend. And then we will have much better control on what is coming up. We're also going to check the line tomorrow just for any leaks or anything else. But it's time to just take a
I
little
wonder if he's going to
service.
say, probably
We're
not, that it's in contract.
Could everyone but Arnold mute, please? We're getting some crosstalk here. Anyone
Thank you.
who's, yeah.
We're getting some good water, but not some great water. So we're going to take a little look at it with, Bill's oversight. We will probably, have a much more in-depth review next month.
Okay. Well, this is part of the process of restoration. One key performance indicator of how well that restoration is working is going to be the conditions of the various vernal pools and wetlands in that area. And I believe that the commission would like to see a wetland engineer like a Bill Kenny providing a periodic report if that could be included in these updates. He would, as an expert, he would be able to speak to much better the impact of what you're doing.
No problem. We actually have him scheduled to come out either Friday of this week or Monday to, beginning of next week. So again, with Bill's guidance, he mentioned the same thing. We sent an email to Bill and we're on his schedule. I just don't know what day he's coming out. So again, our eyes are good or Bill's eyes are good, but Bill Kenny will certainly take a walk. Part of what we were looking at is it has been so dry. These wetlands are moist, but not, again, as wet as we might like, but Bill will certainly tell us which way to head.
Of course, that's the case everywhere. Any wetland in the state looks pretty dry about this time.
Right. Since we're in a level 2 drought situation, there's an impact there.
Yeah. There's another matter of, if you don't mind, I'll bring up about water quality. And there was a question about the quality of the water being pumped up there. I did sample that last week and just got results back yesterday. And there was nothing detected. We looked for the volatile compounds, the volatile chemicals that might be related to petroleum compounds or solvents or anything that might be used in the area. We looked at metals and it's totally, all that stuff was not detected. And that sample was actually taken from the hose itself at zone 1. To really represent what's being distributed there, not just what's coming out of the well, but what's going into the wetland proper.
Okay, thank you for that information.
That'll be in the report as well. And again, I'm not sure you heard that, but the end of this week, early next week, you'll get our July report. That'll include all this discussion, as well as the detailed inspection reports for each of the weekly inspections we conducted in July.
Excellent. And can you put on your calendar to come report back to us at our next meeting, which is the
28th, I believe.
28th of August or thereabouts?
Sure.
Okay. And Arnold, perhaps we could have Bill Kenny talk to us at that meeting?
I will say yes. I don't know his schedule, but if not, he'll either speak to you in person or certainly give you a report that you guys will have ahead of time.
Yeah, we'd make the request and hope for good result.
Right. I can't speak to his schedule, but I am more than happy, as you guys know, to do whatever you request. But I just don't know if Bill has a conflict, conflict that night. But either Bill, I, and the other Bill will be on, or myself and Bill Hempel going through, with a written report from Bill Kenny.
Okay. Any final questions from the commissioners?
August 28th is a Sunday.
Thank you, Clark.
Okay.
It's the 4th Wednesday of the month, right?
That'd be August 24th then.
Correct. Okay.
Correct, my apologies.
Very
Even
good.
better, I think there's a better chance of me getting Bill on a Wednesday than there would be on a Sunday.
So any final questions from the commissioners? Very good. Bill, Arnold, thank you so much.
Very welcome.
And we'll move on because
Patience earlier.
Sorry?
Take care.
Oh.
Bye-bye.
No problem. So that brings us to the last item on the agenda, adjournment. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All right. All in favor? Okay. Very good. Thank you. Good night. Meeting is adjourned.